don't run up on me like that. You know I get spooked easily. Oh. Anyway, you're here now. Welcome to StoneBlock 4, I guess. Jeez. Today, I wanted to show you my first 10 days as a great introduction to StoneBlock and StoneBlock 4 as a whole. The SkyBlock experience, but underground. So strap yourself in, brew yourself a nice Christmas hot chocolate, because Papa Jim is here to tell you a Christmas tale of the first 10 days of StoneBlock. And oh boy, we are back to a regular series, chaps. Woo woo! You better be cheering in the comment section. I'm watching. Better be seeing some nice Christmas cheer. So, day 1. We were introduced to the world of StoneBlock through the Echo of Guidance. Now, I made a video covering the narrative on your screen right now, so I won't cover the first few quests dialogue, but throughout this Let's Play, I will be focusing a lot more on the narrative and the lore with animations. So we'll start off by pressing complete stage. Once I'd read through all the dialogue, we were greeted with the hub world. And I chose the basic island to begin with, since it's the OG for the old StoneBlock players. Right, so the first thing we do is break down some stone into stone pebbles. You have to use your bare fist for this, and don't even ask how this is possible. But then using the pebbles, you can craft cobblestone, which then gives you access to the stone crafting table and stone tools. We'll do crafting table as well, and then make a stone hammer. The stone hammer acts exactly the same as it is in regular SkyBlock, where you can use it as just a pickaxe, or you can use it to chop down cobblestone into gravel, dirt, sand, and dust. For now, I just focused on getting as much cobblestone as we could, in order to keep working on those quests. If I make myself the stone crook and use that on dirt, I'll get access to saplings. We'll plonk down some dirt in the middle of this room so we can actually grow ourselves our first sapling. This unlocked us wood, so now we could make chests or even better stone tools such as an axe to get even more wood. That's a pretty good start as well. Let's have a look at the quest book. What do we need to do next? Leaves. Right, okay. Leaves were really simple to make because we had access to wooden shears. Once we'd got some of that, I made the wooden basin. This allows you to place leaves, jump up and down on the top of it, and squeeze water out into this basin, allowing us to get access to our first bucket of water. Whilst this was all going on, I had actually left some cobblestone in the furnace to smelt. And now that we've got some cooked smooth stone, we can craft ourselves our first hammer. This hammer is interesting because it gives us the ability to mine in a 3x3 area, meaning that we can make tunnels even quicker. Yeah, I appreciate that there's multiple things called a stone hammer. Just this one's the 3x3 one, the other one is the choppy downy thing. I'll also craft up some charcoal to make more charcoal as well, and that will also give us one of the quests. Oh, cool. Okay, so the quest rewards gives us a little bit of automation for this as well. That's really neat. Alert. Alert. Hold on. You haven't engaged with the video yet. You didn't like, subscribe, or comment. I see you. Oh, you don't know what to comment yet? Oh, I'm so sorry. Put something in the comment section about your favourite fruit or something. I don't know. Don't look at me. I just make the videos. Getting access to that charcoal then allowed us to craft the campfire. And you can place regular leaves on the campfire to dry them out into dried leaves. If you use the crook on dried leaves, you get access to straw, which meant that finally we could craft the crude brush, which was the first quest item that we needed to complete. So I think we can now go back to spawn and hand in that quest and hopefully get some rewards. So we now need to craft a chronon generator. Interesting. At this point, the quests branch off into 3 different pathways. I thought I'd go for the side quests at the moment just so that we could complete this chapter once and for all, and so that involved me brushing dirt and getting grass seeds. This is probably also a good time to mention about the random events in StoneBlock 4. Occasionally a random event will happen, which might give you some extra items, jump scare you, or even spawn in something like a questing ram. A little bit of foreshadowing there. So if you see something really weird in the background, it's probably a random event. Okay, a little bit more of that dirt, and then we can place down the grass seed. And that means we finish off that quest there. And maybe we can get some passive mob spawns. That might take a little while though. In the meantime, let's get cracking on with getting ourselves some compressed gravel. In a similar vein to sieving, StoneBlock 4 makes you brush different blocks to get different resources from them. I did gravel at this point because we can get access to coal and iron chunks. And we can convert the iron chunks directly into iron clusters with a 2x2 recipe and plonk them straight into our furnace. We can also convert the tiny coal into regular coal by crafting it up in an 8 block like that. And once we've got 2, we can now make ourselves the iron hammer required for the next quest. Ooh, a globe. Interesting. Plonk that over here and spin the globe. Boop, boop, boop. By completing the main line of quests, you unlock a higher unearther level. This allows you to get different materials from brushing, and throughout the quest line you will be upgrading this allowing you to unlock some rarer materials like diamonds, emeralds, etc. The next quest in the series was to go and find a healing spring. You get given a compass to locate you to that nearest healing spring, but now that we had the hammer, it became a lot easier to dig towards it. Interesting thing of note, when you've broken your hammer, it doesn't fully break, it stays on 1 durability, and you can add cobblestone back to it in a crafting table, and that will heal up its durability, meaning that we can just stick around using that same hammer. And before too long, we had made it to the healing spring. Oh, I think we've reached it. Got a ton of mobs over here to come and deal with. Oops. Oh, this might have been a terrible idea. Oh, this was definitely a terrible idea. Oh, that was an awful idea. Luckily, this wasn't hardcore, so I could just use /back. However, the mobs were still there. Can I use /back? Oh, okay, we have /back. Oh, okay, you're already on me. But luckily, I didn't die this time. Oh, okay, right, note to self. Light up the tunnels. I think the best investment we could make is an iron sword right now, just because we're going to get into a bit of combat, I feel. Oh, and we get our first bit of armor as well. Ooh, very swanky if I don't say so myself. But then I found something that really shocked me. I don't think this was supposed to happen at all. Wait, I'm sorry, how have we found a villager already? What do you mean we found a villager? Hold on. What? What? How have we got a villager? So you'll find out later, I think the healing spring was a little bit bugged, but basically in the questline, we're supposed to go and get a zombie villager and then regenerate him using the healing spring, but for some reason it must have counted this area as a healing spring, and so it regenerated the villager? I don't know. But anyway, we finally made it upon the healing spring. This is a beautiful little bit of land here. We get access to a bunch of new crops over here like bamboo and sugarcane, amethyst, which we need for the chronon generator, and then a head start on some of our decorative blocks such as decorative pots, blast furnaces, stone cutters, etc. Also, I think our villager friend is having a little bit of a tough time staring through walls. I think he's lost the plot. I brought back some of the plunder from our expedition, including the amethyst that we needed. Oh, another loot bee. Egg. What is that? Crystal barrel. That's a ton of space. What? That is a lucky find. We got a crystal barrel, which is going to be significantly more storage space than our chests already. Right, we'll have to migrate absolutely everything over to that. And whilst we've done that, all of our iron is smelted up as well. So, the next thing we should probably do is get some of this compressed cobblestone and break it down even further. I made sure to get both sand and dust for the quests that we needed. I also brushed these because it allowed us to get gold, redstone, and a few other components that we need for the chronon generator. And that means we can brush all of that. And in fact, I think we can actually increase all of that stuff quicker by making ourselves the iron stick. And if we place the sand in our offhand and right-click with the iron stick, yeah, we can place this so much quicker. Brilliant. Right, let's get to brushing. Great. And then we'll do the dust as well. Perfect. So we now need to craft ourselves that chronon generator. That's not particularly difficult. It requires one of those chronon cells, which uses the amethyst that we crafted before. And everything there's doable. Right, let's just get all of that stuff smelted up. I made a second furnace to try and help with all the smelting that we needed to do, as well as making some glass, and then finally just brushing in the meantime. And eventually we had all of the stuff we needed for the chronon generator. So, chronon cell, that's easy. And chronon generator needs a clock, that's easy. So then the chronon generator sorted, is that what we've got? And then we just need to submit it through the quest book. That gives us access to, whoa, a bunch of coins and dreadful dirt. Fantastic. That's everything we need. So I believe if I place them both in my inventory, I can then go back to the guide and complete his quest. So our next goal is to convert a zombie villager. Now the funniest thing is, I think one already converted when we moved over to that area, so it's quite funny. Right, the next stage is the action pad. Right, that will allow us to do all of our teleporting. Pop that there. Great, okay, so now that we've got the action pad, we can teleport to different places, including the world engine. Finally, oh, never mind. So this will be where we end up spending most of our time doing a load of crafting, and we can use the action pad to go back home as well. Perfect. With the delightful dirt that we got as a quest reward, I tried to make a 1x1 mob farm so that we could get our hands on a zombie villager. Despite us technically already completing this part of the quest, I thought I would show you how to do it, because that is the first time I've ever seen a zombie villager cure itself without any intervention. Now I've got an idea. We want to get a couple more spawns for those zombie villagers. If I dig out an area here and make sure that it is dark, and place down dreadful dirt over here, place down a fence gate above here, so now any mob that spawns on there should now spawn there and we can kill it or take it up with the ender lead. One of the interesting things about the dreadful dirt is I believe I can give it a redstone signal to spawn mobs quicker. And yeah, that works. So this is our mini mob farm. Obviously it's not very effective, but hey, look, we've got a second bit of chainmail. Check that out. It took quite a few mobs to spawn in for us to actually get our first zombie villager, but eventually one showed up. Hey, our first zombie villager. Perfect. Right, let's grab him. Very useful. Oh, what the heck do I hear now? Quantum Goat. What are you? What do you do? What happens with Mr. Quantum Goat? Do we have to kill him? I'm gonna do it. And we got cognitive flux. What is that? Okay, interesting. So I believe the intended thing you do is place down a zombie villager in the healing spring. Now, I want to test something. Okay, so it was glitched. I don't know why here is registering as a healing spring, but yeah, that works apparently. You're supposed to place them inside this healing spring. He is now turned into a regular villager. We'll pick him up. So we need to make ourselves the Echo Encoder. That requires leather and amethyst shard, and apparently I have enough leather already. And then we also need an iron stick, which I crafted earlier, and I'm assuming I can use one that has a bit of durability gone. So if we pop to the world engine, we can place both of those in there, and it's now crafting up. Ooh, very cool, very cool. And we should get ourselves the Echo Encoder. So if I get my villager, I can plonk him down and then encode him, shift right clicking the villager to get ourselves the worker token. And we get an unearth level from that and an eternal steak. What? Right, well that's our food situation completely sorted now. What? Now using the world engine, you can actually duplicate your worker tokens. All you need for that is a stack of baked potatoes or 32 bread. So at this point I decided to go and make myself a farm so that we could go and generate as many workers that we need. I basically just sprinkled any kind of crop that we already had because at this stage I don't know what we need specifically, and so I thought a little bit of everything would be best. And if we go to the world engine, we can plop down our token in there alongside some of our bread, and that should breed together the villagers and give us 2 as an output. Perfect. Right, and I'll make sure to grab another one as well. Great. Right, so let's go back to spawn and see what the next quests involve. Cool, so we've now unlocked 3 other echoes. Apparently, we've also got access to more things in the shop. We do. Ooh, okay. That's very cool. We'll definitely have to check some of this out. I then went around and visited all 3 of the echoes so that we'd unlock the teleport and access to their quests. Bro really called himself Pa. What? Right, claim the entropy manipulator. Cool. Right, bless Mary Beth. I don't know who Mary Beth is, but shout out to Mary Beth. And we get some very neat stuff in here. We get storage controllers and pocket storage. Now that will be useful for when we go mining. I might grab one of those now, actually. And worms. Lads, we've unlocked worms. How cool is that? And that gives us access to tier 1 in the quest book, unlocking all of the archives, which we have now done. And we just got a flux controller as a reward. What? Okay, interesting. I did not expect this, so I'm just going to plonk it down on top of the dirt chest. So now comes one of the most important decisions to make early game. I think the most important one for us now would probably be the magician, because this will give us access to the storage lectern, which is my favourite way of accessing items early game. We just need an archwood sapling. You should work together with an expert or master archaeologist in an unearther to dig up these magical saplings. Okay, you're more of the explorer type, you can go to the arcane grove. I'll be honest, I think we'll try this way, the unearther. So if I look through the quests for that, we need to get ourselves that unearther. We get it from tinted glass, which is just amethyst and glass, and we need deep slate. I think that we came across some of the deep slate before when we came over to this healing spring. Yeah, there's loads of it around here. Let's go and grab some. And I'll be honest, I don't really care for the looks of this grove, so I'm going to just pinch as much as we can. So I did all of the micro crafting required to get ourselves 4 unearthers. And for that quest, we also get opaque item pipes. I then cleared out a space to place down all 4 of these unearthers. I also gave a lot of space on the top because that was where I was going to put all of our automation to add gravel and sand and whatever block into the top of it. So the one that we need is the archaeologist because that can brush dirt, dust, mud and sand. But we do need a salvaging table if we want to do the geologist, which brushes gravel, soul sand and crushed kivy. So we'll have to craft one of those, which shouldn't be difficult. I think we've got everything for that. Okay, the interesting one is this amethyst dust. We can get that from a cutting board, which we can craft. And then we just need to plonk the amethyst shard over there and right click it with a hammer. And that'll give us 2 amethyst dusts. And that is our salvaging table. So I guess the best way to get our villager to convert into being the one that we need would be to place down a decorative pot and just right click and he'll turn into an archaeologist. Great. Oh, that's actually a really interesting trade. And then we can use the echo encoder to shift right click and pick him back up. I'll do the same with the salvaging table. So plonk that down and there we go. He's now a geologist. We'll use the echo encoder and pick him up as well. And we can plop both of these guys in here. So now we need to set up the automation. What we're trying to automate is that both of these guys have access to a crude brush or whatever brush we end up giving them. Later on, we'll also need to sort out the food situation for them. And then we also need to put in gravel and sand. And then after that, we need to take out the outputs and place them somewhere else. Okay, so our first port of call will be to take out any of the outputted items and plonk them in a chest. Right now, I'm going to place a temporary storage just over here which is going to house all of the items that come out. And we'll shift right click to make them on pull mode so that we extract all the items into that chest. We then want to make sure that they have access to brushes, so we're going to have a chest that's going to pull out all of the brushes and give them to the fellas. Right, well apparently we now have a questing ram. Can I pick this guy up? We can. Right, I'm going to move him into the center of the room. Look at this fella. Check out this little guy. Definitely no dodgy pole going on in this episode. Right, so then we just want to plonk down a double chest over here, and pop an item pipe going in on both of them. And this guy's already becoming a nuisance. Thank you very much, Mr. Questing Ram. For now, I've made the input semi-automatic, so I have to add my own gravel and my own sand. But later on, we do automate this using a cobblestone generator and a bunch of auto hammers. That should be good. We've got a little bit of sand here and a bit of dust as well. That should hopefully upgrade him to a decent level so that we can get access to some of that Ars Nouveau stuff. And our automation is working. That's now outputting all of those items into this chest here. We're going to clean this up later, but for now, we just need this working in its basic form. We might as well also give them our vegetable noodles because we don't need this now that we've got that eternal steak. I didn't cover this before, but opposite the farm, I made this massive grass space, and that was to allow for passive mobs to spawn. So for now, our questing ram is going to live there. So what is next? In our quest book, it says that we can make cobblestone generators and auto hammers. It looks like we also need the previous tier to make the upper tier. So we're going to need to first make this, which is the regular stone generator, which means we need to make stone. Right, okay, cool. Let's go and craft ourselves up some stone. But right now, our furnaces are way too slow. So I upgraded both of the furnaces to iron tier. And now that we've upgraded that to iron, it's going twice as quickly. That is all of our stone smelted up. Let's craft ourselves that into compressed stone. And we need a lava and water bucket. So I crafted an infinite water source to save us having to use the water basin again and again. And then for lava, it's a little bit difficult. If you remember back when we introduced ourselves to the machinist, he gave us an entropy manipulator. Right-clicking on stone with the entropy manipulator produces lava. So we can use that to generate lava in a small portion. Now, how easy is it to craft an auto hammer? It's actually not that difficult. Right, I think we need to get some of this. Yeah, it doesn't require power or anything, so I think I grab another auto hammer and then another auto... Oh, are we out of iron? We are out of iron. Whoops, probably shouldn't have done that quickly. But that's okay, because luckily our resources are coming in very quickly, so we should be able to craft that up and place that all in there and get that cooking up. I will grab another stone generator as well. So I want to test something. If I place down this stone generator, does it just generate stone? And if so, where does it go? Does it just go into nearby inventories? Oh, it does. Right, okay, that's really useful. And I'll be honest with you here, I didn't really know what I was doing when it came to the auto hammering. The goal was to put the cobblestone directly into the auto hammer and then export it using the opaque item pipe. The problem that I was coming across is that I didn't know how to reorient the hammer. If you know how to do that, please put it in the comment section. I had no clue and it just wasn't working for me. I tried to use a hammer. I'm gonna guess you have to use something like a wrench, but I didn't get any luck with the pipes wrench. But after a little bit of reorienting myself, I finally got it working with the gravel. And then afterwards, I tried to do the exact same, getting sand into the archaeologist. For now, I might as well leave these two here as well because I feel like we're going to end up using all the sand and dust over here as well later. To get our archwood saplings, we're going to need to get our unearther to the next tier, which is the expert tier. That is one after what we've currently got it on, which is journeyman. Meanwhile, I think it would be best if we can upgrade our setup here so we can get these chunks compacted into their iron cluster form. I don't know the best way of doing that, but looking at this, there is a custom compacting recipe for it, so I think we'll try and use the compacting drawers. So if I go back to spawn and go to our quartermaster, if we look in the shop, there is the simple compacted drawers over here. We've got 215 coins, so we can grab maybe 4 of these for now, and it might be worth grabbing a storage controller. That has wiped out quite a lot of our money, unfortunately, but I think that'll be worth it. Oh wait, hold on. I don't know why I did that. We can just craft it, but oh well. We're also going to need a linking tool, which means we need to get a drawer anyway, and some paper. And we luckily have got diamonds coming in as well, so that should be fine. Let's turn this side over here into our drawer wall. So if I place down my simple compacting drawers and then put my storage controller, can this go straight into the storage controller? I'm wondering. Place that like that. Link these all to here. Grab our iron chunks and place them in this one over here. If I then enable this, will it output all of those chunks into the storage drawer? No, it won't. So as you can tell, I was having a little bit of trouble trying to automate all of the items going into the storage controller. The opaque item pipes that we were using only take from the first slot. So if there's no space for an item to go in, it just stays in that chest. There's probably a much neater solution, but my current solution for this was to try and add as many simple compacting drawers as we could muster so that every single item that would be coming in had a slot. This actually worked pretty well, but it was a little bit expensive. Our wood situation is getting a little bit dire, so I believe in the first set of quests there is this bit down here, the bonsai pots. That required clay, and luckily we're getting all of that from our unearthers. So we've got this chest over here. If I plonk down a hopper and then a bonsai pot on top of it, I should be able to add my dirt like so, and then place my sapling in. It will grow it, like you can see there, and we need to give it an axe. And then we need to give it an axe, and it will harvest that. So let's make a diamond axe since we've now got access to diamonds. Pop that inside there. And that is now producing oak logs. It took a while to get all the resources, but eventually I filled up that entire wall with simple compacting drawers. Whilst this was all going on, our archaeologist had finally leveled up to that expert level that we needed to get ourselves the Ars Nouveau saplings. So I threw a stack and a half of dirt in there to get every single one of the saplings that we would need for later on. Yes, right, perfect. First vexing archwood log. I tried for about 10 minutes to grow this sapling and it just wasn't happening. We didn't have enough space for it. So instead of doing that, I thought the next best thing was to probably just reuse the exact same setup as we had before and use bonsai pots. Let's replace this with a 2x2 oak drawer. I think that should hopefully help us out a little bit. That gives us a little bit more storage space and we can upgrade this in the future. It also allows us to link it to the storage controller, which will help us when we have the storage lectern. And we can turn that into archwood planks, which should give us access to the next stage. I worked my way through the questline for the magician, which involved crafting the imbuement chamber, and I automated this using that hopper setup that you've seen in Civilus and probably countless Let's Plays before. We'll do a really simple automation here. We've got the hopper, imbuement chamber, and then hopper again. We'll fill out the bottom of this hopper and pop down one of our lapis in there. Once that's done, it takes a little bit of a time. You can take out one of your archwood planks, and now it will only accept source gems. So now we've currently automated the source gem production if we keep lapis topped up in the top. We need to make ourselves source. We need to get a source link and a source jar. Right. I think the best one that we can actually go for straight away is the agronomic source link, because that will produce source based on farms that we have growing nearby. 4 source jars should do the trick, and then the agronomic source link. We just need some more gold. Great, that's all sorted. And I will plonk all of my source jars. I'll just see. I'm going to plonk the agronomic source link right in the middle over here. And I hopefully think that it can reach that distance. I hope it can at least. Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. You'll see all of the particles when stuff grows go into there, and it will shoot out a source beam into the source jars over here. I didn't think this was possible, but apparently the squat grow actually also produces this source, so that's actually really handy. We can get a bit of a head start on that. And we are definitely running out of inventory space. But that has now given us the next stage over here, which means we can finally get on to crafting the Dominion Wand. In StoneBlock 4, the Dominion Wand actually doesn't need the enchanting apparatus, so we'll craft it in this way here. And then we also need to get our hands on 2 source stones. Source stone is really easy. We just need to get some of the smooth stone and have a source gem in the middle, and we've got loads of this smooth stone. So I'll craft up 32 of that. So we'll go to the world engine and pop down our gold stick and 2 source gems, and that will now craft the Dominion Wand. Right, fantastic. And then I believe we're done. Oh, damn. We just got the netherite hammer. That is crazy. That's going to speed up a lot of the mining stuff. Brilliant. Fantastic for that. So now all we need to do is go and speak with the magician again, and we need to build the upgrade for the world engine. Right, so complete stage. Perfect. Have we unlocked anything interesting in the shop? Oh, we've actually filled out the entire shop. This is really good. We will 100% be back here because there's some stuff here that is very interesting that I want to try out. Very cool. Right, back to home. Actually, ignore me. We're going to go to the world engine because we can place down those 2 source stones if we just submit them, and it will now assemble that upgrade, he said. Ah, yeah, just over here. Right, perfect. And there we have it. We have now upgraded the world engine to accept source. And I think it's important that we set up a storage lectern so that we can actually upgrade all of our storage over here and connect it to our chests as well. Which means that we need to get ourselves into the enchanting apparatus, which now uses the world engine that we have upgraded with the source stone. However, we need electrum nuggets for this. Electrum nuggets. Ooh. Not entirely sure the best way to do this. Probably with an alloy kiln, which means that we need to get our hands on 8 kiln brick, which is just brick and sandstone. Perfect. That is a load of sand, and we've still got a load of brick left over as well. So let's craft that. Now there's a cheaper recipe that if you actually just place down the sandstone like this, you can actually just right click it with brick and that will turn it directly into alloy kiln. And it's a little bit cheaper. And so now that we've got that all sorted, let's break a little 2x2 square over here and place down every single one of our kiln bricks. We also need to grab our engineer's hammer, which is a really easy craft. If we right click the kiln bricks with that hammer, it should now convert it into an alloy kiln. Perfect. So let's grab ourselves the gold and the silver to make electrum. But not before one of the random events decided to give me a little bit of a fright. Oh, jump scare. And we'll plop both of those in there, add a bit of coal, and that will then convert it into electrum. In the meantime, whilst that's all working, we're going to need ourselves the arcane core, which is very simple. And we're also going to need ourselves 4 of the arcane pedestals. I'm going to change something up with our farm. I'm going to switch these blocks out here next to the water source out for sugarcane, because we need a source for paper, and hopefully that will help us out a little bit. Cool, that's 9 sugarcane. Turn that into books. We need some more leather. Luckily for us, we've got this rotten flesh, and I believe we can dry it out on a campfire. That will turn it into leather. Right, fantastic. That is great. Our last book, and we need to make a bookshelf, and then finally the lectern. We'll also craft 4 chests. So that's all set up now. Let's grab ourselves the source jar and head over to the world engine to go and craft ourselves the apparatus. I'll place the source jar down. And I believe I just need to Dominion wand, shift right click on this as well. And there we go. All of the source has just entered into here. And for this process, we're going to need 2,500. So we've got more than enough. And if I just press move items, yeah, check that out. We're already crafting it up. And there we go, the enchanting apparatus. So let's craft up that storage lectern. We need to place the arcane core and then the enchanting apparatus on top. Place 4 of our pedestals around any sort of pattern, it doesn't really matter. Our chests on those pedestals and then the lectern in the middle. And that will then convert that into the storage lectern. Perfect. I'm going to then break up that setup. And this is great, but this is not going to work right now because we need to get ourselves a bookworm charm. The way that we get that is with a ritual of awakening and a book and quill. I did spot this earlier. In the Echo shop, we can actually just buy the tablet of awakening. But the book and quill, what can we do for that? Ooh, it's a little bit awkward. I think the best bet would probably be the millstone from Create, and we can just use charcoal or coal and get black dye from that. The feather I've got an idea for, and we definitely need to make ourselves another book. In the background, I popped a load of dirt into our archaeologist, and that has given us a load of these andesite pebbles, which should be great for starting Create. I can condense those down into andesite directly, and then make a bunch of the nuggets, and make a load of andesite alloy. And our best start would definitely be just a plain old water wheel. And we could probably upgrade it to the bigger one as well. So I thought I'd clear out another large space just for this little Create contraption. And honestly, I seem to struggle a little bit when it comes to building in StoneBlock. I don't really have a good strategy because you're not really making a home, you're making more of an underground base. But I might try and design something in the future that makes it look a little bit neater. I'll also strip up 8 of these logs over here to make ourselves the casings. From there, we make ourselves the millstone. I've also crafted a bunch of cogs. So let's place ourselves the water wheel over here. And that should hopefully spin. I'll place a big cog there and a big cog over here. And a millstone over here. No, that doesn't work. Cog there and then a millstone? There we go. Right, okay, so that is now working. And hopefully I should be able to just throw a little bit of coal in there. And then that will give us the black dye that we need. There we go. Right. Perfect. That is 2 black dye, and I'll leave the rest in there so they can cook away. So now we just need to worry about the feathers. There's probably quite a few different options we had for feathers, but all of them involved us somehow getting access to chickens. I found the gateway of the Emerald Grove in the Echo of Guidance shop, and if you defeat every single wave of this, you'll get a bunch of passive mob spawns. And so my next goal was to try and complete this. Now, I don't really have a great space to fight it, so I'm going to place it all in here. There's not enough space. So after completely ruining the aesthetics of this area, I finally had enough space to spawn in the Emerald Grove. Right, okay, there we go. We've now got the gateway, and hopefully this will just be an easy gateway. And anyway, we can actually just sit outside here. Oh yeah, this is mega easy. I can just literally have the fence gate here and clear them off like this. This strategy worked great, but then we had the spider spawns. Oh, okay. Bit more chaotic this one. Oh, way more chaotic. Hold on. Ooh. Oof. That was a close shave. And the rest of the Emerald Grove went pretty okay, to be honest. There wasn't any other mishaps. And then finally, on the last round, we had the necrotic farmer. And then the last zombie, which should mean that after this, we've completed it. Yeah, there we go. Which means we now have access to a couple of our feathery friends. Craft the book and quill. We need to craft a ritual brazier, which is not difficult at all. That's really easy. And we'll go to that magician and buy ourselves that ritual of awakening. It's 25 coins. Easy purchase. And so now, if I place down my ritual brazier anywhere, pop down the ritual of awakening inside, and then right-click with the book and quill, and then right-click again, we now get the bookworm charm. So if I place my storage lectern down absolutely anywhere, like there, and right click with my bookworm charm on it, you'll see that we get this little fella spawning in. And if I shift right click an inventory and add it to the storage lectern, you'll see we can see every single one of our items up in here, and we can do crafting from this menu. And every single one bookworm allows us to connect 8 inventories. So I'm going to add this one over here, and I can even add the storage controller up here, which will just count as one inventory, but it allows us to access all of the chunks that we have as well, which is even better. So I think I'm going to craft up a couple of iron barrels, turn them into gold barrels, and then upgrade them into diamond, and then finally the crystal barrels. Great, that is 3 crystal barrels, so let's plonk them on the wall over here, and actually we can remove this crafting table over here. And now I'm going to connect up every single one of these inventories, so we've got tons more storage space. So I can actually clear out my inventory. Oh, that's so good. And looking at our buffer chest, we're actually getting rid of all of these chunks because they're all now going into our storage compacting area. Great, that is looking all good to me. I just need to sort out uranium chunks. And then, yeah, that's a completely empty chest. Meaning that we've completely upgraded our unearther setup to automate it so that it's placing it in these compacting drawers. And if we ever need an item, let's say gold, we just pull out from the top here the gold clusters and smelt those up. And eventually, we'll actually automate the smelting of all that. But now, I think it's best that we upgrade our furnace to gold and then one tier further to diamond. Can even get up to emerald. That's really useful. Right, okay, that's as far as we can get it this time. I'm then going to grab a configuration tool and make sure that we lock all of these compacting drawers. We could do it all individually like this, but the fastest way is just to right-click the storage controller with the configuration tool, and that will do all of the ones connected at once. So I think what I'd like to do right now as the last sort of thing for this episode is to actually get these clusters all smelted up. Placing our furnace down here, an input chest on the right of it, and then a crystal chest on the top, going into the configuration tool, inputting from the right, output on the top, and if I grab myself all that coal that we've been collecting, it should just mean that I can grab all of our clusters from here and place them in this chest over here, and that should hopefully be smelting up if I put on auto input and auto output, going up to the top, and then we can connect this chest to our storage lectern, meaning that we now have access to all of the smelted goods that come out of this. And I guess for now, we'll just let that process all in the background. And I believe that that is day 10. We have finally reached day 10. I think we've done a good job. We've automated all the unearthers to give ourselves the resources that we need. On top of that, we've now got our questing ram and all of our passive mobs here, including the rabbits that seem to be going a little bit mental over around here. And then we've also sorted out our storage situation alongside our auto smelting situation as well. So I think that is a great time to wrap up episode 1. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure you hit that like button, and I will see you all next time.